All right, you guys, this is Raw Detroit, and this is the Keeping It Raw podcast. We're going to talk about the Florida Gators. We got 3 players that we want to talk about from Florida. And the reason why we're going to talk about it because I read a report, and this report came from Lionswire, that the Detroit Lions have been sending down scouts to scout the Florida Gators. And from the notes of what was taken with Lionswire, pretty much saying that they have gone to like 5 games out of 11 games. So that means that the Lions are doing their due diligence. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, or don't get me misconstrued. I'm not saying that the Lions are going to draft these players, but they are down there and they have been going down there to check these guys out. Now, 3 players of interest that I think that the Lions ultimately have their eyes on is quarterback Anthony Richardson, and we're going to talk about him a little bit in this video as well. And then also linebacker Ventrell Miller, and then also Osiris Torrance, who is a right guard. So pretty much you got a linebacker, you got a quarterback, and you got a right guard. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, I do not call the shots on whether or not the Detroit Lions are going to draft all defense. That is not my thing. My thing is just to talk about this team in a whole and just eventually just wanting to see this team get better. And there's some ideas and there's some things that came to my mind when I thought about them going down to Florida. And they've been down there 5 times. So they've sent scouts down there to watch Richardson. They've sent scouts to watch Miller and also to watch the right guard. Now, definitely, I know that the Detroit Lions have an opportunity to draft a quarterback, and they're projecting Anthony Richardson to be anywhere in the 1st or the 2nd round that he can be taken in. Now, some people say that he should stay because he kind of had an inconsistent year, but he's 21 years old, and when the draft comes around, he'll be 22 years old, and he hasn't declared yet for the NFL draft. He could decide to take his last year of eligibility at Florida, but pretty much right now, he has not declared for the NFL draft. But once you know he does declare for the draft, this kid has all the intangibles that you want in a quarterback. This is a kid that can be groomed. This is a kid that can sit behind another quarterback. While Jared Goff, especially while Jared Goff is being the quarterback right now, I think that you can bring in a guy like Richardson. Now, there's a lot of things that Richardson needs to clean up about his game. He needs to get more consistent, especially throwing the football. He has things that he needs to work on, just like any quarterback has something to work on. To me, the things that he needs to work on is his footwork, his mechanics, his decision-making with the football, and his accuracy. You know, that's one thing when you get into the NFL, you want to be more accurate with the football because you don't want to turn the ball over a lot in the NFL. Will you throw interceptions? Yes, that's going to happen. That's a given. It's the game of football. You're going to get picked off every now and then. But these are things that you need to work on. And by him being as young as he is, man, the ceiling can be really, really high with this kid. He is a dual threat quarterback. He can do it all, has a cannon of an arm, and he is definitely one of those quarterbacks that I wouldn't mind developing. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, maybe Bryce Holmes is going to be the #1 pick, and he ends up ultimately going to Texans. Then you also have C.J. Stroud, who's projected to be the #2 quarterback taken. But some people have fallen out of love with C.J. Stroud because of the Michigan game. But overall, he has had a phenomenal season. And even in that Michigan game, C.J. Stroud still threw for 349 yards, but he did not win the game against Michigan. And that's been the knock on him, that he has not been able to beat Michigan the last 2 seasons, especially when you're an Ohio State quarterback, because most quarterbacks that come from Ohio State, they say that they don't really pan out and do well in the NFL. And right now, Justin Fields is trying to change that narrative, but he still has to get the weapons over there to be able to really change the outlook of what people think about Ohio State quarterbacks. Now, CJ Stroud definitely is a solid quarterback, and he's a quarterback that I wouldn't mind developing. I'm not going to, just discredit the guy. He's probably not my favorite quarterback to take, but he's not a guy that I would just say that I wouldn't take as well. But I just think that the ceiling with guys like Will Levis, Hendon Hooker, those are guys that I would take ultimately too. I know that we need defense, but with the Lions going down there and scouting these guys, it's not saying that the Lions are going to draft these guys, because we know how that went last time when the Lions sent out all those scouts to go to see Kayvon Thibodeau. We thought that they were going to take Kayvon, but they didn't. They ended up taking Aiden Hutchinson, the hometown kid. So anything can happen at any given moment in time. We don't know what's going to happen, but definitely, man, there's a lot of things to like about Anthony Richardson. The dude has a cannon for an arm. He has all the physical traits to be an elite quarterback in the NFL. And I think if you sit him behind Jared Goff for the next 2 seasons, I definitely think that, or even just 1 season, I think that this kid works on his footwork, works on his mechanics, his decision making, and getting his accuracy right. I think that this kid can be box office in the NFL. You just never know. He has the size that you want in a quarterback at 6'4", almost close to 240 pounds. Is a nightmare with the ball in his hands. We know that. I don't want to talk so much about what he's able to do on the ground, because you guys already know what he's able and capable of doing. But I just want him to be better, have a better presence in the pocket, clean up his footwork and his mechanics. And then I think that you could take a kid like this and develop him. You know what I'm saying? You can take a guy like this and develop this guy. He has time to learn from a guy like Jared Goff and be able to understand the offense, be able to throw that deep ball down the field to a guy like Jameson Williams. That would be box office. And I think that drafting a kid like Anthony Richardson, man, would make this team scary, because he would be like a bully out there, man. This dude, man, I'm telling you, man, he got all the physical traits that you want in a quarterback. You just need him to clean up his mechanics. You need him to be more accurate with the football. And I believe me so. But you know what I mean, guys. You know what I'm saying? He's capable of doing some things out there on the football field. And I've seen a lot of great things that he's able to do. And I've seen some inconsistent things. And if I had to look at his season this year, I could say it has been a roller coaster season for him. But right now, with pretty much knowing that Caleb Williams, guys like Drake May and J.J. McCarthy are going to be like the top quarterbacks taken in the 2024 NFL draft class, I think that it's only right for this kid to come out this season, unless he wants to stay back in school and work on his craft and get a little bit better. But I think that he is a great kid that can sit back and learn the game of football, and he can be taught by some professionals, guys that's going to be hands-on with them. He doesn't have to worry about the team like Florida as far as like all the things that he has to do out on the field to make sure those guys are ready to go in college. But he can get that tutor and that leadership from quarterback coaches like Mark Brunell and stuff like that. They can work with this guy. And Mark Brunell had that type of skill set as well. He was a guy that could run the football as well. But I definitely think that Anthony Richardson is a kid that you definitely can coach up and develop. And then when it comes to Ventrell Miller, we know that we need linebackers. And Ventrell Miller is one of those guys that's a sideline-to-sideline linebacker. He reads and reacts well. He knows how to pursue the ball carrier through traffic. He is a very good He's a good linebacker that has the ability to also not only play inside, but he can also play outside as well. He's not the most athletic linebackers out of all the linebackers that's coming into the draft. He's not the most athletic, but he does read and react well, and he has great instincts on film. And you can see this guy read and react really well and shooting through the gaps well. And that's something that you need at a linebacker. So that was probably another reason why the Detroit Lions went down to Florida. It wasn't just to see Richardson, but to spot out some linebacking talent as well. We know what happened with Jared Davis being a linebacker that they've taken out of Florida. I don't want to kind of put the narrative on him and just say, You know what I'm saying? You can't draft anyone from Florida that's a linebacker. I don't want to say that because you never know what type of player you're going to get. But Ventrell Miller definitely is a solid linebacker, and he's just probably something that the Detroit Lions want to take a look at as well. Probably, especially with Brad Holmes loving to take linebackers in the later round. Maybe he's a guy that they're looking at to draft in the later rounds, a guy like a Ventrell Miller. Now, he's not that big. He's probably about 6'1", 230 pounds, somewhere in there. But, pretty solid linebacker, man. And I definitely think that you can put him on the big board and see if you would want to draft him if he becomes available. Now, the biggest thing, too, with the Lions, because they also went down there looking at a lineman, Torrance. Solid linebacker. He is a good run blocking lineman as well. He's a good run blocking lineman. Needs to work on his pass protection, especially when he's reading and reacting to delayed blitzes and things of that nature. So definitely, man, the Lions went down there with the focus on looking at a couple players. And the only reason why you're going to keep going and you went 5 times this season is because you're trying to make it up in your mind that if this kid is available, you're going to take him. So these are a couple guys that the Lions have been looking at down in Florida. I'm not saying that they're going to draft Anthony Richardson. I'm not saying that they're going to draft Ventrell Miller, or they're going to draft Osiris Torrance. I'm not saying any of that. Basically, what I'm letting you know is that the Detroit Lions are looking at these guys, and they've been down to Florida 5 times. They've sent scouts down there. So, and I'm definitely knowing that they're probably looking at Anthony Richardson big time because he's a young fella. He's only going to be 22 when the draft comes around, and he has all the physical traits that you want in a quarterback. He can do it all. He's a dual threat quarterback. He's dangerous with the football, definitely in his hands. And he has all and possess all the traits that you want, but you just need him to clean up his mechanics, his footwork, his decision making, being pinpoint accurate more so with the football in the next level. He's going to have to be more accurate with that football. But I definitely think that this is a kid that you can take and develop and bring under the wings of Jared Goff and be taught by Jared Goff, and then eventually be handed the keys. So, all right, guys, this is Raw Detroit. I'll be back to you guys soon with another video. And I'm out of here. Until next time, peace.